Hey, what's up guys? It's Cliff from Trail Grid Pro. Super pumped to be back with you today. We've got a dash cam plug and play bundle for you today that fits a 2003 all the way up to 2022 Toyota 4Runner. So I've been testing this dash cam bundle in my personal 4Runner for over 6 months and I absolutely love it. So what we've done is we've paired the Cobra SC200D with an adapter that allows you to gain power for your dash cam from the overhead console. So you won't need to run power down to the 12 volt or anything like that. It's a plug and play solution to ensure that your dash cam turns on the moment that you fire up your vehicle. The Cobra SC200D actually comes with a rear camera option as well, and we will ship that to you. But I didn't use it in my 4Runner because the rear window obviously powers down and I just didn't see any use in having that behind me. So we just installed the front one, but you're absolutely able to put the rear camera in as well if you so desire. So the harness that makes this all possible from a plug and play perspective and then also constant power to the camera so you never have to charge it is this right here. And essentially this jumps between a power cable up here in your headliner console, and then here is a USB connection that will allow connection from this power source to the Cobra SC200D so that you'll always have power to your dash cam. Every time that you turn on your vehicle, it'll be fully powered up. So as I mentioned, mine is already installed and has been there for 6 months. So I'm actually gonna disassemble this to show you how easy it is to install it in around 10 minutes in your 4Runner in your garage. Okay, so the first thing for you to consider when doing this install is the placement of your dash cam. So some people will like the dash cam to be fully concealed by the rear view mirror based on where your eye level is while you're driving. I actually prefer to be able to see the dash cam functioning. I can see the screen a little bit, probably 75% of it while I'm driving. I just like to know that it's on and working. But that's definitely a personal preference on where you want that to be positioned on your Toyota 4Runner's windshield. So when you get your dash cam bundle and decide where exactly you want to place your dash camera, the sticky portion of the dash cam, there's this red tape that you just peel back. And that's going to give you access to the sticky portion so that you can mount your dash cam at your preferred location. The next thing that we want to do after that is we want to take off the overhead console here. The reason being is that we want to make sure we have clear access to this black plastic portion back here, which actually is the funnel of all of the wiring and power to your rear view mirror. So in order to make sure we have clear access to that, we're going to take off the overhead console here first. And to do that, for those with the traction control, so your TRDs and your Pros, off-road premium, you can actually just pull down on the knobs just like that. And that'll give you access to this connector right here, which we're just going to remove. If you do not have the traction control knobs, then you have a sunglass compartment. And to access the screws that we'll need, you just need to open it. And you'll see the Phillips head screws right underneath of it. But for this, we took off the traction control knobs and then we're gonna use our Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, so the Phillips head screws that we wanna remove are this one and this right here. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And just make sure that you're ready for this screw to come down. Have your other hand up here ready to catch it so it doesn't get lost in oblivion. And let's get the other one. All right, so we've got both of those off. So my overhead console has been taken out a lot. So mine might be a little more loose than yours, but when you take the screws out, you're gonna notice that the front of the overhead console is gonna be loose, and then there's tabs underneath the rear of it that need to basically just be pulled down. Now, mine is pretty loose again since I've done it before, but you may need a panel tool to get yourself some leverage for those to pop out. Next, we just need to remove this connector right here, and that way we'll have our overhead console completely removed from the vehicle. All right, so now that we have the overhead console completely out, another quick tip to make this a little easier for you is just position your rear view mirror down. So what we need to gain access to are these black panels behind the rear view mirror. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to remove this black piece right here. And the easiest way to do it is to use a panel tool and kind of come up behind it. There we go. And this should just pull off. And sometimes, as you'll see here, so these are actually two pieces. And this larger, sort of thicker piece goes on top of it. Sometimes they'll come off together, but sometimes you'll remove this top piece and then the underside piece one at a time. Mine just happened to come off together. So we set those aside, and what you'll see back here is this is the power cord that goes to the rear view mirror. So all we need to do is depress the tab, which is right here facing us, and pull up at the same time, and the connector will come right out. So now we have the plug and play harness in our hand, which all we're gonna do is jump between this black connector right here and this right here. And we're gonna jump it between it, and that's how we're gonna get power to our dash cam. So I'm gonna take care of that real quick. So again, it's gonna be, this end is gonna go into right there, and then the other end right here is gonna go into the black connector here, if you can see that. Let me just show you real quick. That's the connection right there that we're making. Plug that in. And then you can actually, if you pull down on your overhead console, we can actually tuck this harness up in the overhead console. So you're gonna pull down a little bit and tuck this harness right underneath, right into the overhead console. And that keeps the wiring nice and clean. All right, so that's all up there, looking good right there in the corner of the overhead console. All right, so now that we've plugged in our harness, it's ready for our USB power to the dash cam, which this comes with the dash cam bundle. And we're gonna plug the USB-A into right here. And then this end plugs into the dash cam. And it's on, the connector is on top, so I can point that kind of forward to find it. Just get your orientation, and I'm in. And so that's positioned there. All right, so as of right now, we effectively have a plug and play, always powered dash cam in your Toyota 4Runner. And at this point, what we need to do is clean up the wires a little bit, and let's put it back together. All right, so now it's time to reinstall our two pieces here, which hide all of the power and wiring there. And actually, I'm gonna reinstall them, I'm gonna put them together. It slides down, and I'm gonna, again, it just kind of slides into position, just similarly to the way we took it off. And so, all right, goes up there, and that's all back into position right there. Looks beautiful, just like factory. The next thing that we're gonna do is we need to clean up this section of the harness right here. And in your kit, we're gonna include a zip tie. And I'm gonna show you how to zip tie that up there so that it looks clean, completely, almost like factory. And let's do that right now. So the way to do that is to take our zip tie, and I'm gonna orient it the right way. I'm gonna drop it behind the black panel here. And this is where a panel tool might come into play, because you probably won't be able to see this, but essentially I've got the zip tie coming across, and then there's a little gap right here between the black panel and this section right here. And I can kind of try to snag the other end of the zip tie with my panel tool. All right, so you might be able to start seeing that come across there. There it is, right there. All right, so now I've routed the other end underneath that section to where I have both sides of my zip tie around the black portion. So now all I'm gonna do is start my zip tie and put this in a good place. So maybe a little bit lower so I don't see it quite so much. Okay, now that I have my zip tie into position, I'm just going to cut the excess off. All right, I've got that there. All right, so that all looks good over there. Perfect. So next, grab your overhead console. Let's go ahead and put this back into position. So just make sure that you make this connection here so that you got power to everything. And let's go ahead and pop this back into position. So those tabs here are going to be holding that into place a little bit. So now we're ready to put our screws back into position. And again, this is a Phillips head screwdriver. Perfect. Now our traction control, and let's make sure we make this connection here, just like that. And this just pops back into position, just like that. And guys, that's it. That's all this is. You're talking 10 minutes and you have a fully ready, fully powered, plug and play dash cam in your Toyota 4Runner, ready to record whatever's going on in front of you while you're driving at all times. All right, guys, so a great complement to this bundle is the Drive Smarter app, which is right here, which is from Cobra, and it actually syncs to the dash cam. So the dash cam itself has GPS capability, and you can click on the gallery portion on the bottom. Okay, so now we're in the gallery, and you can see here we've got some of the recent recordings from this morning on the drive to work. You can have, it sets emergency recordings if it senses something that, you know, kind of happened that is worth highlighting. There's an emergency section here, and then actually you can set favorites as well. So it's got everything here from this is drives this morning to the gym. This is last night. You know, I recognize these drives. So it's got a ton of recording here. And this has a 16 gig micro SD pre-installed, comes with it, so you don't necessarily need to buy a micro SD card, but if you want a larger one, you can add that to it. So all sorts of cool functionality within the app so that you can view any of your drives or anything that happened in front of you that you feel like taking a look at. The other cool thing that this is good for is if like you went wheeling or off-roading or trailing and you want to get those pulled off, you can do that as well. All right, guys, so we wanted to take you on a quick little drive just so you can see how this powers up. You can see right when I press the ignition, or if you have a key, when you turn your key, that the dash cam is just gonna power right up. So I'm gonna go ahead here and press the ignition. And you'll see here almost instantaneously, there you go. Powers right up, boom. That's everything right in front of me. All right, so we're in a quick little drive here, roll up this window here. So it's a nice clear screen. So again, remember, I positioned mine so I can see it a little bit. I like to know it's there. I like to know it's recording. You know, the other option is to hide it behind the rear view mirror. But I just like to be able to see it a little bit so that I know it's recording at all times. Yeah, so again, fortunately, you know, I haven't had to use this. This is sort of a peace of mind thing. No accidents, no real issues, but it's there if I need it. And you know, sort of another benefit is you never know what could happen in front of you that you're not necessarily involved in, but maybe you could help out, you know, somebody else that is in a tough situation because they got in an accident, and the footage would certainly clear up what actually happened. All right, guys, well, that wraps this up. A quick and easy plug and play dash cam install for your 2003 to 2022 Toyota 4Runner. You can do this in your garage in around 10 minutes. You can pick up this bundle now at the TrailGrid Pro store at www.trailgridpro.com. And as always, guys, have a blast out there.